page 2, Joel.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you as soon as it goes live.
All right. I'm just going to do some miscellaneous stuff. Technically, I'm working and I want
Okay.
to make sure that everything seems to be going well. All
So
right.
now we are live on Facebook. Welcome to Comic Spot, everybody. Come on in and get to know this guy. Today we have Joel Dewitt. We're going to get to know this man. He's funny even when you text or Facebook message him. He's always got some wisecrack, and I'm like, what's he trying to say? Oh, he's funny. I get it. So
I know it.
say that.
Oh,
What?
oh, good.
See
You know
see what
what?
I mean? It's hard to compete with other comedians.
That's true. I know it's very
Joel,
difficult to challenge you. So,
yeah. Joel Dewitt is an actor. We got to hear about this. A writer. Yeah, go figure. A comedian that also writes. There's a lot of you guys out there that aren't doing much writing, and you know who I'm talking about. He's an actor, writer, consultant. I want to hear about this, and the host on FM radio, KOWS, like cows with a K, 92.5, the Political Atheist. So let's talk to him and find out everything we can about him. I'm Mark. Welcome to Comic Spot, Joel.
hello.
Woo! What you
Well,
got
for
to
a
say
second,
for yourself? Where in the heck? You're out in the field. You're out in the field with trees, I see.
I actually am in Martinez and I'm on site currently. Actually, it was funny, although suddenly your voice went auto tune on this side. So, which you do have a lovely voice, by the way. Uh,
Thank you.
I do a lot. I am very part time at KOWS. My show is The Political Atheist. Now, the reason why I called that is because for some people, a lot of people, their politics is their religion. It's where they get their sense of ethics and value. And I think it's ridiculous. I'm more facts based when it comes to politics. I'm not really into dogma. Part of it is that I think my mom beat it into me as I was growing up. My mom was the kind of person that anytime you said something, you almost had to do a bibliography of why you said that. So, I mean, seriously, why do you say that? What proof do you have? It's almost like giving testimony. In fact, actually, when I have a conversation with my mom, I kind of want a witness, a lawyer, and a notary public present. So,
That's a lot of fun.
yeah, it's good to repeat yourself over and over again to find flaws in your testimony.
It's a good practice. So
Well,
talk to me about let's I know you're doing a lot of acting, writing, consulting and a radio show, but I want to go back to little Joel when you were a little kid and you said the first funny thing and what got you
oh,
hooked on pursuing being funny.
well, you know what? I thought you were taking the conversation a different direction when you said the little Joel, but actually, there was a family story about the cute, funny thing I said as a child. I
Oh,
don't
good.
remember this. I don't remember this. But when I was a kid, there was a family party, and apparently I walked into the middle of the room and I clapped my hands to get everyone's attention. And after I got people's attention, I said, everybody, stop. And then I said, everybody, dance a little bit. And that was a story said to my horror on a regular basis on the part of my grandmother. And that was, I guess, that was my thing when I was that age. So,
So you got encouraged to be funny because you heard laughter and the story got repeated. And
yeah.
then what else did you do in your young life that was
Hmm.
centered around being funny? What other things popped up to keep you going?
You know what's funny? Actually, comics are usually depressed loners. So I guess if you want to be either a lone gunman or a comic, you should spend your childhood being depressed and by yourself. So that's one of my theories.
Yes. So you were by yourself a lot?
I did a lot. You know what? I loved walking in the woods and exploring. And I loved going into old houses, and especially ones that were deteriorated. Not quite sure where that came from, but I was really big on that.
That sounds fun. I like
Yeah.
going for walks in woods, and I love dilapidating build. I love taking pictures of them. I don't necessarily like going inside them, but I love going
Oh,
down.
I did.
That's
Oh, you know what?
interesting.
Another thing was digging stuff. I also like digging in things. I actually have a scar on my thumb. You probably couldn't see it. It's about an inch long, where basically what I was uh, trying to catch guppies, and the glass that was in my hands smashed and cut like an inch of my thumb. Wow. You know, actually, now that I think of it, I told my mom this recently. I used to go to a construction site, and I'd be walking on a beam across a unfinished basement, and the beam was maybe 3 inches wide. And I'd be going over this unfinished basement with bricks and cement and everything about 20 feet below. I used to walk across that. And I think there's no way I would do that today. So I was crazy brave then.
In school, college, or your adult life, were you the consummate clown, or were you still off by yourself being a loner thinking about getting an AK-47 or what?
When I was in college, I actually knew everyone. I wasn't necessarily joking all the time, but I knew everyone in that dorm. Every pod, I knew people. So if I had insomnia, I could go somewhere. And what else? I, of course, took up an interesting hobby of excessive drinking, which was really cool at that point. And I'm actually living to this day one of my regrets. If I could go back in time and tell young Joel something not to do, it would be do not go to nightclubs with loud music, because you can get something called tinnitus, which is the ringing in the ears, which you don't want. It's like herpes of the ears, basically. But for lack of a better metaphor, of course. But yeah,
Yes.
that's something to avoid. So if I could go back in time and talk to somewhat fit young Joel, I'd probably do that.
I have tinnitus. Do you have tinnitus?
Uh, I can actually hear it now, and there's ambient sounds around me.
What's ambient?
Oh, background.
So you hear
Background.
noises that are there louder, or
It's I would say it's like
uh,
24/7.
uh, that's even when you're trying to sleep.
See, it's actually worse because there tends to be less background sounds when you go to sleep. It's an inner ear. What happens is, as I go in my doctor mode here, uh, the cilia, I think it's the cilia in the ears, have been damaged. So to compensate for that, they become agitated, and they they start being like hyper, which the brain interprets as sound when there is no sound.
Wow.
And this is permanent damage. This is what I meant by the tragic herpes metaphor. Uh, it doesn't heal. Like if you broke your arm, it would heal. the damage inside of you. Actually, one time someone said to me, "Well, I don't use earplugs. Like, it's inside of my head." Oh, it's like, yeah, actually, now that I think of it, it's like a psychotic voice in your head. That's what tinnitus sounds are. Psychotic voice inside of your head can tell you to kill people or other people. The tinnitus, the noise inside of your head, makes you want to kill yourself at times, some people, because it's just so relentless.
Yes.
Now, I'm not thinking about that, so I'm not going to be doing Clinton side in the near future. So, but
That's good.
back to you.
So, did you ever serve in the military? Because I know a lot of military people have tinnitus.
No, I have not, actually.
I served in the military and I have tinnitus, but I don't
Wow.
have it anywhere near to the level that you have it.
How did you serve? What did you do?
I went in the Army,
Mm-hmm.
and I say I went in because I'm a baby boomer and I wanted a man to want me. And I saw a poster that said Uncle Sam wanted me. So couldn't resist. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of jokes about it, but yeah.
Okay.
I went in the Army and I was a cashier, and there was a cashier next to me cleaning his weapon, and he didn't know there was a bullet in the chamber, and it went off right next to my ear. And
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Oh. Well, it seems like that's the kind of thing in the military that they would frown on that kind of a responsibility, wouldn't they?
Yes, definitely. It was over in Germany, and the bullet went through the floor to the floor beneath us, and so it became an international incident. We had to fill out international papers on it.
Oh, wow.
That was weird. But I dodged a bullet. I say I dodged a bullet.
Wow.
I'm the winner. You got to make yourself the winner somehow. So did you go to college, or did you go into a technical field, or what's been your life after high school?
Wow. So I suck at technology. I've taken a couple programming classes, and to tell you the truth, I'm just awful. I'm really good with concepts and ideas, probably better than most people, but creating a series of symbols that end up with the computer being able to follow instructions is, I suck, and not in a good way. It's like me in algebra. Literally, it literally makes no sense to me at all. I don't know what it is, but it is. I mean, I know algebra is supposed to make sense, but x plus b divided by, like, what? That's just incomprehensible to me.
It is. I never had a math teacher that could make it make sense to me.
But after high school, I've had a weird career, if I think about it. I was a GM at Mrs. Fields for 2 years, which it had 1,000% turnover rate annually. I was 4 years. I was a contractor for TSA, and a good part of that, I was not just a checkpoint supervisor. I was a terminal supervisor, meaning I was a supervisor of a whole terminal with multiple checkpoints, and that was a weird place to work with. You had a SOP that was literally seen as a Bible, and you could not violate this. In fact, actually, a lot of people have a lot of negative association with TSA, when really they'll say, oh, TSA people they just want to violate the rights of Muslim people. People is far from it. They would actually, TSA would rather screw you over as a white person who was Christian than a brown person that was a Muslim. They're really literally like that. Like, I don't want to break any codes here, but
Okay.
they don't really give you the option of going after people that might be like a single male in his 20s traveling without luggage. They don't really let you do that. What they say is, what they might say is search every 10th bag, which is stupid because, and then a lot of people think, oh, they're just going after a grandmother who has a pacemaker. Not true. So at that time, you really couldn't go through the walk-through metal detector, allegedly, with a pacemaker. So you'd have to pat them down. And so if you pat down a woman who, 80-year-old, woman who's 5'2", you're not abusing her. They requested a pat down. And just to let you know, I've actually had to pat people down that I found interesting. But a pat down is an extremely unsexy thing, unless, of course, you're off the rails stupid. And I guess you are patting someone down, but there's just something.
Work.
Yeah, it really is. It's what's less than sexy, like someone who could be, your Adonis or princes normally looks like Danny DeVito if you have to pat them down. That really comes down to that.
Yeah.
So sorry, Danny, if you're listening. Nothing perfect.
I was a banker for 24 years, and there's nothing less appealing than thinking about taking somebody else's money. Like it's the same equivalent. It's like it's
what?
Work. It's work to me.
When I was a GM at Mrs. Fields, I could make a $5,000 deposit in a day, and it means nothing. I would have piles of 50s and 20s and hundreds in front of me. It meant nothing. It's not my money, which it was, but.
So at some point, you decided you were going to do acting, writing, consulting, and a radio show. Which one came first? Which one's the chicken and which one's the egg?
I was a consultant, and I actually was hired one time. I was actually hired one time to investigate a company in Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. So I got flown out to Salt Lake City, where I saw a lot of businesses had already abandoned California because it was pretty anti-business. Unless you're very wealthy, then of course you can stay here. But of course. So I have my grandmother and my mom. My grandmother was a reporter. My mom it was a great investigator. So because my
Sounds
mom,
like she still is.
she's more a party loyalist now. So, an influence to my show, by the way. So, yes. I had to investigate this one business. So I investigated them with their paperwork on the city, county, state level. I've checked out their job site, and I end up interviewing them. And so we gave, a complete report afterwards. When I was the type of person that if I applied for any program with a company called Get Paid for Your Ideas,
yes,
guaranteed I'd win.
Wow.
And I wrote, when I was in college, I wrote 30 suggestions for my restaurant that I was working to improve their business. I remember some of it was real simple, like they're not putting the fancy drink menus on the tables. I know that sounds simple. Another one is they had the rooms named kind of neutral, and I thought they had the Sibley room, which means nothing out here. They had the West room. I said, no. You can try a political angle. Name one the Reagan room, the other one the Carter room, just to stimulate some interest. Now you can name it something else. You could name it the Robin Williams room, whatever. I mean, he was famous then, by the way.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I am associated with a company called Tizuma, and that is a consulting firm. And a consulting firm is a bit like it's like a hooker with credibility, basically. Is you're going out to looking for work like hookers do. The only difference is how can I say this? The service you're providing has more of a socially acceptable aura. But to tell you the truth, I can take one idea and literally make millions for you. Seriously. And here's a problem. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of businesses are committed to their mistakes.
Yes.
Like if you hear a business person say, we've always done it like this, or we're not a blank kind of company. I love it when they go, well, I go, Oracle does this. And they go, well, we're not an Oracle kind of company. So you're a failing company.
Yeah.
Don't you want to be an Oracle company? I mean, isn't the goal to, I'm going to get a little political for a second, only just to illustrate a point how silly people are. I have an acquaintance who is a lawyer for a company worth over $100 billion. So he's a corporate lawyer, an acquaintance, not a friend. We were talking one time and he said, well, I don't really like the 1%. And I go, oh, wait. You work for somebody who is the 1% of the 1%. There are the 99.9999999% of the people. Then I had a stroke. I mean, it's incomprehensible to me that this is where politics makes people silly. You help the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. But you're against them. So I'm not against anyone. Seriously.
Like that.
Because hate, you know what hate does? It disembowels you. It destroys motivation. It makes you hold on to craziness. That's why I despise when people say, for some reason these days, fear is good. Fear isn't good. I mean, you should be concerned about things. I've got this. Not because I'm afraid, but I'm concerned. The virus is real. The hysteria isn't. Big difference.
Big difference.
Big difference. And I've said this actually privately. I'm going to make it first for your show. Down the road, there will be a serious virus like Ebola. I think this is a testing. Let's take this as a testing ground now. Let's learn how to do things better, and this will change things. There are three things that are going to happen in the future. The first one is we're going to lose a lot of businesses. We already lost 100,000 restaurants. We may lose 40% more. This will make it so there'll be more opportunities for the business as exists and new businesses. Two, it will change the way people buy things. People buying remotely. I'm working on that right now. There are certain things today that people do not buy remotely. They will in the future. It will change things. The third one is, please, we have to work and focus on personal improvement, your body, your mind, your spirit. And I know it's somewhat ethereal. I'm actually working on a couple of app ideas for those things. We need to, this is my biggest concern too. We gotta stop separating ourselves from other people. We need to listen to other people, respect their opinions. It may be different than yours, but it does not make them bad.
That's right.
So these are things, if we understand that, we can actually make things better. And this is
Amen.
vital.
Vital to our existence. Talk to me about your acting.
Okay. So actually, there's a minority-owned business called MMTB. Its corporate CEO is Elaine Altman. I've been trying to get her on my show. She's been hesitant for some reason. So, and the show is just calling KOWS FM. So, anyways, I did some writing, did concepts. I've been an actor in several ones. I was, I think it was Sword and Stone, playing an aging rock star.
Wow.
And played a devil in the Choice Room. Not the devil, just a devil. And what else? I was a movie producer in J.D. Ossenheimer Goes Crazy. And I've like a dozen credits. Some of them they have not updated yet. But I love it. MMTB really helps, not like everyone, including people of color, break into the movie industry. There's one guy called JD Charisma, kind of interesting name there. Very good looking guy and a good young actor. And I think he's got the potential of being hopefully another Zac Efron type. I think he would be a good leading male character. And there's some actors I've worked with that, actually, to tell you the truth, there's Siobhan O'Brien. I saw in her stage play of Die Mommy Die and San Leandro. Very awesome. There's Miguel Garcia. He played Tony in Die Mommy Die. Did absolutely perfect. And by the way, my definition of a good actor is, do you believe they are who they are portraying?
Exactly.
That should be the definition, right?
It should.
I'm at work. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Let me ask you about your writing.
Yes. I'm at work.
Did somebody get their foot hurt or something there, or was that a camel?
No, they want me to play something for them on the. Oops. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
All right, so. I don't know why this is not loading up.
It sounded like somebody yelling.
Yeah. All right. Well, that should play it. Did you turn the sound off? Oh, sure. Go take it in your room. All right. Probably should round this up.
You should round up the talk.
I think this is going to be fun. Yeah.
Okay, you got to go.
Yeah.
Tell people where you want.
Thank you so much.
Tell people where you want them to follow you.
Okay, so that'd be I'm on Facebook for Political Atheist. KOWS, and we're on KOWS FM 92.5. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joel. Have a great rest of your day. I guess he needed to go. Something came up. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. He's an interesting guy.